So people can ask questions to the speakers.
Yeah. Okay. François Schmidt, you can speak. Ah, I'm afraid François cannot do it. Yeah. So I will do it instead of him. He's asking to Jacques, what is the way to estimate R0 from the data?
In principle, you have to extract the dynamics in each H class and calculate the R0 at the beginning of the dynamics. That is, represent in logarithmic scale the evolution of the new cases and extract at the beginning, at the slope, the value of R0. It's perfectly possible to do that H class by H class, but if you have a mix of H class with different R0, it's practically impossible if you know the possibility to share with the data with people in charge of surveillance of each classes.
Yeah.
And the problem in France, there is no more medicine, scholar medicine.
Jacques, what should we do when we are no longer at the beginning of the dynamics?
Alors, after that, you have to try to go to the Markovian model by the founder of the stochastic chemical dynamics, kinetics. I have told about him, Delbruck, and you have to estimate the parameter in this model. You need a lot of data, but it's possible to do that in the framework of a Markov process. There is techniques, but you have to abandon the idea to extract that from the differential global system. You have to enter in the intimity of the process and do exactly the same you have to do to estimate kinetic parameter in a complex kinetic reaction. It's possible to do that. But the problems of epidemiologists have not the habit to play with the Markovian version of the epidemic dynamic. Because since McHenry and since the work by Roy Anderson, they have the habit to play only with the differential version of the dynamics.
Yeah. Paul wanted to ask a question.
Yeah, it's a question to Theo. So
yes.
you have a multi-level propagation model with aircraft, with other kind of transport. And then is it possible to integrate the different dynamics at the different level? Is it something which is elegant, or we have to do that by pieces?
Yes, it's been done by during the swine flu epidemic, which did not end up as badly. So Dirk Brockman has integrated the Worth George data from the dollar bill tracking with the aviation network. And so it is possible to do this, but it's a little bit of work.
I remember that Julien Arinaud, for the SARS, have tried to get data from IATA. And
Yes.
if I am right, it was very difficult to get data, no? Now you have the possibility to get data from IATA, the international.
Well, there's there's this other organization that that provides data. You don't have to go to IATA. You can get them. You can purchase them even. That's not a vulnerability. But of course, the aviation network is going to change. Right now, we don't have any passenger aviation network. It's fully locked down, but and it will start again one day, but then it will look different. So one will have to get new data, let's say from week to week or from month to month, as the network comes up again.
Of course.
What I consider important on a smaller scale is using cell phone data within countries, because there is also a lot of, right now it's obvious, the aviation network doesn't play a role anymore for the spreading of the epidemic, but it's the traffic on much smaller scales that plays a role. And as this goes up again, then as I showed in one of my last slides, then this will have an impact on increasing R0 again. And I think it's important to monitor the increase in human traffic and to see early enough how this could lead to an increase in R0. And
yes. It's a nice idea. And we have published recently in scientific reports that, for example, pathologies with data from Orange, the telephone data provider, had you could extract on the nictemeral habits of the guy a lot of information, and some diseases are impacting a lot. I don't know if the COVID it's easy to do that, but for a disease like the psychiatric disease, it's evident that the image on the signature of that is called the digital phenotype is very clear, and perhaps it's possible to extract also signatures of in the traffic correlated to the COVID spread. And I think Orange is open for this kind of study, at least in France.
Okay.
I have another question for both. So when the confinement is stopping, do you have a good model for explaining how R0 will increase again? Or is it sufficiently data, or is it sufficiently good models? What is missing?
The solution proposed by Macron is the COVID surveillance and by tracking people, but I don't know if it's ethic, acceptable, etc.
Well, what you can do is look at the increase or the changes of the daily new cases, but this gives you a delay of at least a week.
Yeah.
1 to 2 weeks.
It's a lot.
You might want to know earlier, and so, as I said, the cell phone data that give you information on the the changes of mobility could be a much earlier indicator. Also, of course, these Bluetooth apps will be very important that tell you whether you were in contact with an infected person. I think it's very important to have this kind of measures available as we open up society again. But yeah, also I mean we cannot predict how a certain measure will lead to an increase or a decrease of a zero. But fortunately enough, and unfortunately, we have so many experimental epidemiology labs in the world, depending on the presidents of the different countries. For some, unfortunately, for others, fortunately. So I tend to look at what is done in different countries and to look at I've been looking at the daily new numbers in different countries for, I don't know, for 6-8 weeks already. And what you can see is that South Korea has managed extremely well. I mean, they got their daily new numbers of positive tests down to 10 or 20 now in the whole country. And so we just have to look what kind of measures did they apply and try to imitate this. We don't have to imitate People's Republic of China or Singapore, but we can look at South Korea, for instance, how they managed, and try to find similar containment mitigation measures.
Yes, it's a good idea. Another idea is to decide that finally the R0 for an individual is global. There is an R0 for the first day of contagion, an R0 for the middle of contagion period, an R0 for the end. And the distribution of this R0 are giving a mean R0, which is possible to measure, of course, globally from the population data, but to have on a sample, if possible, big sample in each category of age, for example, an estimation of this distribution of the local daily R0 during the contagion time could be only by looking at the shape of R0, because the R0 can be uniform on this period of contagion, can have a Gaussian shape, can have a peak shape, and I think we have no idea of this, because if the guy, okay, is in the middle of the contagion period, but he has a fever very, very high, etc., etc. Of course, he is meeting practically only her husband or his wife. But during the asymptomatic period of contagion at the beginning, probably the level of the virus in the vesicles emitted in the aerosol is not so high, but he has a lot of contact because he's discussing with friends, with family, etc. And that, I think, it has not been so studied. And an indicator could be also the cell phone, because during the period in which the contact are oral contact, direct contact, the guy is terribly contagious, and after that, probably he replacing this contact by phone contacts. He's in the bed, with a big fever, etc. There is a lot of contacts, phone contacts. The social life is kept, and the guy is not dangerous because he's in the bed. It's only dangerous for the near family. And to study that in the details could be very interesting. And for example, if you have a bipolar, and if you are entering in the depression, it's practically the day in which you are passing from the maniac behavior to the depression behavior, you have a completely dramatic change of the phone traffic. And it's probably by looking very, very deeply in the cell phone activity, you could extract a lot of information about this period in which, because this R0, you are calculated an R0, a mean R0 for many different age classes. You are calculating for an individual an R0, a mean R0, along a period probably of 22 days. It's ridiculous to play with this mean, with this expectation. That is telling absolutely nothing about the real dynamics of contacts. And the cell phone activity could bring a lot of information, I think.
Yeah.
If possible, I would like to come back to a question which was forwarded to us. It's about the data which were made open access by Johns Hopkins University. Is it a premiere in this kind of making so much available the data, more or less on time? And what can we expect in the future? Because, for example, when we are discussing about the data which can be collected with the help of smartphones, a big question will be whether this data will be open access or not for research.
Of course.
Do you have any answer about that?
As the Finland people, the school of Kaski has done a lot to not oblige, but to push Telefonica, to push Orange, to push many providers to give data. And there is a very interesting Finnish group trying to transform, of course, statistical data, the personal data, to transform that in a big repository accessible by all the Kaski organized a congress in Oxford last July, and have been very surprised to see that all the providers present were okay for apparently giving the data. Alors, of course, it was a promise. I don't know if there will be a following to that, but I think the tendency is in the good sense.
Mm-hmm. As far as I understood, the EU initiative, it's not only about fundraising for COVID-19, but also about sharing resources, sharing data, and so on.
Yes.
So there is an initiative for that.
No, yes, that's
on the
good.
EU level.
This is very good news, but anyways, it could be complex question due to the fact that there are, in given way, medical data, and it's not so obvious to use publicly medical data usually, especially if you are speaking about contamination. There could be complex legal problem about that.
That's true. The problem, if you have a phenotype, for example, a morphologic phenotype or a phone phenotype very strange, very singular, for example, if you are following only the night, etc., if you are presenting a case, all the neighbors of the people of a small city are knowing the name of the elephant man. And it's all the problem is due to that, the identification of people having a singular behavior. But this singular behavior are very important because they represent the extreme of the convex of behaviors, but it's the problem of the identification of a guy without to have any name, ID address, etc. And in fact, in medical data, it's often very, very easily to identify the guy if he has an aberrant behavior.
About data, there is another question which is often discussed, is the fact that indeed, due to the change of economy, a lot of activities which were providing data for geophysics are no longer active. And therefore, there is a lack of data for geophysics, for example, meteorology. Some data were collected by airplanes and so on. And presently, of course, there is a sharp decrease of this data. And that's first for this present period. But maybe there is another question. Could we expect that we have to reduce the mobility instead of increasing endlessly this mobility? And therefore, there will be a consequence for the collection of data.
Yes.
There's no, nobody wants to elaborate on that.
But you have to find correlated data to. It's a problem to extract information from correlated data, geophysical data. I don't know what kind of data, medical data are correlated to geophysical ones, but in certain cases, it's very surprising to see that apparently, si tu veux, data far from a problem have a certain hidden correlation, and you can extract something from the, and it's called surrogate data estimation. It's a tricky problem, but statisticians are doing that now for functional data, data in form of curves. In some Hilbert system, the surrogate approach is you will replace a curve by another curve apparently without any relationships, and in certain cases that works. It's very tricky problem, needing a very clever approach, but it could be possible because geophysics data will surely influence on human behavior, animal behavior, vegetation behavior, and you have to find observable data correlated, even the correlation is very deep and hidden.
Well, you were addressing a more complex question than what I raised. It was a question of correlation between geophysical data and, say, medical data.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, there is another question, which is just the fact that for the present time, a lot of geophysical data are no longer collected due to the change of economical situation. Airplanes were contributing to the collection of data. They are no longer flying, so there is no longer data. And at a longer term, we can wonder what will happen if we are, by chance, reducing the mobility.
So, Daniel, we have to find other way to measure the same data.
Yeah, presumably we have to think about that.
Well, I'm not sure that it will not come up again. I guess we'll have the same order of magnitude flights in 2 years from now that we had before. Maybe we'll have some time with much less data.
Okay, therefore you are not too much anxious.
No, not so much.
Okay.
Please, if you have a question or a comment, put that on the chat. And if you want to make a longer comment, you have a share notes, which is like a Google Doc.
Maybe
Well,
yeah. Go ahead, Theo.
there is an issue that we have not aborted so far is data protection and data security. It's I mean, when one day we will have these Bluetooth apps available, hopefully soon, and there was a question of having central servers, especially in Germany, that where the data would be collected would be useful for the Robert Koch Institute and others, but I wouldn't worry too much about the situation in Germany, since they are really careful. Even our minister is against this. But it's an important issue globally, because there are so many countries. I mean, such an app has to be used also when you cross a border and you enter another country. It wouldn't make sense to have this different apps in different countries. And but I would really be worried, like there was a statement by 300 computer scientists, which convinced me also that it would be very dangerous if there were apps available that work with central servers. And so the scientists, the scientists, and those who develop the apps, they really should pay attention to have a decentralized system where everyone gets the information only on one's cell phone. Because imagine that authoritarian countries try to use these data and oblige everybody to get tracked. This would be the eventual Big Brother system.
And I confirm that it's not difficult to keep the data on the cell phone. It's not difficult. Not for iPhone, but for all the rest, it's
there was a question raised by Auguste Gir. It was a question to Jacques. How reliable are the estimates of R0 and other parameters given the limited percentage of people tested? Of course, that depends on the countries.
Yes, it's a good question. I was trying to answer in a message, and I was saying, the limited size of samples can be compensated by playing with the limit value, with the values of R0 at the limit of its confidence interval, even wide interval, and to see if this extreme value are changing really the dynamics. If it changes a lot, you are leading to the politics, not a curve, but a kind of tube in order to use the vocabulary of Jean-Pierre Aubin. And inside this tube, of course, is probably progressively, by increasing the sample, you could reduce the width of the tube. But in certain cases, finally, between 3 and 5, the consequence on the reach of the plateau period is not important. The expecting times of the plateau is depending, but not the value of the plateau, depending highly. But some important parameters are not depending so highly between 3 and 5. And okay, you have to play with that. Huh? And if progressively the width of the confidence interval is reduced, okay, you will pass estimation and prediction more precise, but you have not to avoid the problem. Huh? You have to give tube dynamics. You have to play not with differential equation, but with dynamics à la Aubin.
Okay, maybe we have to go step by step to a conclusion. Okay, kind of a temporary conclusion. And before that, there was a question raised by several potential participants, which was about what are the main contributions could be expected from geoscientists on the general problem of the pandemic, of course.
You have to ask to Claude Allègre. He has certainly an idea on the question. He's confined as a poor Claude, but he's surely it could be interesting to discuss with him. But he has kept his intelligence. He's a tricky geoscientist, but a very, very innovative and guy. And I would have the opportunity to discuss with him.
Mm-hmm. But there could be other opinions. For instance, geophysics has been strongly linked to a capacity of collecting data, analyzing them, modeling them, and so on, forecasting. And in fact, this problem of pandemic is more or less related to this question.
That's true. Now, the real capacity, they have to enter. For example, there is a call by BPI, the Bank for Investment in France. And if there was a kind of task force with geophysicians, with people having surveillance stations, and for example, there is good groups in insurance, private or mutual, semi-private companies. There is actuaries, there is statisticians. They have not pushed to the constitution of a multidisciplinary task force with people, meteorologists, etc., geophysicians having huge capacities of calculation, of modeling, but this task force has to be constituted by, I think, the public political forces. There is no call in France for a multidisciplinary task force. I regret that a lot. Huh? We have perhaps to push, to push that. I try to organize in Maison des X at Paris, con Paul, a meeting with people from insurance, people from biomodeling, people from complex system, the Paul, etc. But unfortunately, this meeting has been was just at the start of the confinement period. But to organize something with geophysicians, etc., could be very interesting. A kind of informal meeting, but we need money. The problem we have to, even our students passing more than 3 months in our laboratory, we have to pay them. And a minimum of money give to a task force with geophysicians, with public health guys, with mathematicians, and could be very, very, very interesting, theoretical physicists, but who will pay for that?
Well, okay, we can always say that money is missing, but we can also say that we are not doing enough to get the money.
Yes, yes, but we have to constitute a kind of lobbying group, but
okay.
It's a nice idea to have this lobby.
Okay, I believe this meeting was kind of first step to do something in the future. As indicated by Paul, this meeting was fully recorded, and every participant will get a link to get this record, I suppose, except if Paul is contradicting me. And furthermore, we will think quickly how to make some publication and see whether we can go up to a special issue from 1 or 2 or many EGU journal, because indeed there are many different questions which are raised, which correspond to different division of EGU. And anyway, if people are interested by this further development, it's better they will send email, and we will try to create this kind of task force and to be better organized than we were today. Because, for example, we were compelled to jump from one technology to another one for 2 different meetings, whereas we proposed to EGU to have a unique technology, but it was impossible. And therefore, it's just the beginning of something. So maybe we can ask to the speaker to just very short concluding statement before closing the session. So, Theo, can you start?
Well, it was a pleasure, since I'm not a geoscientist, to discuss with you and get your points of view that were partly not on my screen so far. And well, I was kind of concerned in the last weeks about what are we going to do. We have to reopen to loosen the measures and reopen society. Otherwise, we will have a full breakdown of economic and sanitary and whatever. But what kind of measures will we take instead? And now I'm a little more faithful that once we have the Bluetooth apps available, that people will use them, and this will help keep R0 low. But one thing that I'm concerned about is we should, as scientists, also convince people to use these things in the future, because we understand what exponential growth means. Donald Trump does not understand this, and others don't. But we understand what can happen, and we understand that we will need some mitigation measures. And I think the Bluetooth app is one of the most important things, and we should try to convince the public to use these things. Okay, that's
okay. It's very
my
clear.
grain of salt.
It's very clear as conclusion. Jacques?
Yes, but
short one.
A short one. Well, I would have a new age, the same age in which Bernoulli was creating the modeling in epidemiology. And at the same time, the Bernoulli law, which was the first after, no, before Darcy and Navier laws, the first law of fluid dynamics. And you know, at this time, there was no such distance between, because it was the same guys, between epidemiology and fluid dynamics and meteorology. He has done a lot in meteorology modeling. But it was in 17,060. Voilà. No, if this outbreak could lead to work and meeting between people like this meeting in between Basel, Heidelberg, and Paris in the century of the lights, it could be very, very beautiful. Okay.
So it's a vibrant call to interdisciplinarity, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Mark? Oh, I'm afraid he was forced to go to another meeting. So, Paul, do you want to say something?
Yeah. So what I want to say is that our complex system digital campus will be very happy if the group can continue to work. And of course, we can keep the same e-room. And we call that in the CSDC, we call that international e-team with its societal and scientific challenge. So really, it's your topic is absolutely fantastic for the situation, the worldwide situation. Of course, because it's worldwide, geoscience is top. So please continue to work. All the people on the planet needs this kind of e-group.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much, Paul. I must emphasize that it was very important to get more or less an appropriate technology to have this debate. Also, we had some problem, but it was at least working rather well. And indeed, we have to thank Digital Campus for Complex System for having find this solution, and also to decide in a way that it will be just the beginning of a long story.
Exactly.
Exactly, and it should be fast. So indeed, this room will be used for meeting, in order to work meeting, in order to elaborate a bit more what we have to do in the future. And I believe we will call every participant to join this kind of working meeting in order to elaborate a little bit more what we discussed today.
It can be a mensual seminar.
Okay, so this room is open for that.
Yeah.
Sorry. Any other comment?
No, many thanks.
So, if not, we are thanking all the people who attended this conference. I must say they were from everywhere in the world. I could see some people from New Zealand, India, Latin America, US, of course. So it was really an international meeting. And we will go on to preserve this international fiber for the work to be done. Thank you very much for your patience when there were technical problems. And see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.